government thinks they can put up for adoption, we love them a lot, and we need to stand up for them tomorrow. Right now, right before we march, I want to introduce Alicia Sanchez. She's an activist that's been in our community for a long time. She's a voice at KBBF. Here she is, Alicia Sanchez. She wouldn't let me say more about her.
Low enough because I'm too short. Okay. Well, good afternoon, I guess, or good morning. I don't know. Is it there? Okay. I want to tell you a story because I don't know about all of you, but this has been a hell of a 2 years that just have, kicked me on the butt, and I have had to remember this story more than ever before. And this is a story my father told me when my father was an immigrant. He used to cross the Rio Grande from Texas, from Mexico to Texas. And after he got legalized, and I was a little bit older, he took me to a river. I don't know if it was a Rio Grande or it was a river. And he was the kind of man that wanted to make sure to leave an impression. And so he would make sure that I would remember. And I do remember. So he took me to this river. And he put me on top of his shoulders and he swam. He was a very good swimmer. He had to be to keep crossing the river. So he took me to the middle of the river. I was terrified. I still don't know how to swim. I am scared, right? I'm young. I don't even remember. And then we came back and he put me down and he said, "Mija, daughter, I want to tell you that I have crossed that river many times. And every time I cross it, in the middle of that river, I am so tired. I am so tired. I am so scared." He said, "I am so scared. And I am so doubtful. What am I doing? Should I just go back? Or should I continue?" He said, "In life, mija, en la vida, in life, you are gonna come to those kind of situations where you're gonna be in the middle of something that is so painful. You're so tired. You're so fearful. You start doubting yourself. And you're saying, I'm exhausted, I'm tired, I'm done." And he goes, "What you gotta do is what I used to do every time. And that is that I would just take a little bit of a break. I would just stand still and just move. I'd tread the water." He said, and then, he goes, "And then I would say, I am going forward. I am going forward. And that, my daughter, is what you need to do. Never go back. Never go back. Always go forward. Find that strength in you. Say that you can do this, that you are able to do it. You're capable of doing." Brothers and sisters, for me, that's what has been happening lately. That's why my father's story comes to mind all the time. Because there's moments when I go, "Gosh, I can't do this." Imagine, my gosh, what is going on? Why is it that we have to keep fighting and fighting? But sisters and brothers, if we don't, it will be worse. We're right now in a critical point in our lives, in the lives of this country. We have to not give up. We have to keep going forward. We gotta find that inner strength. You know why? Because we are right. And what's happening right now is there's a campaign of hatred, of trying to divide us and conquer us. We do not have anything in common with rich people. And when I talk about rich people, please, someone once said, "Oh, are you talking about the Fountain Grove people?" Are you kidding? Of course I'm talking of rich people that don't even know anything except that they want to get richer and they want to have comfort, and they're going to do anything to divide us, to make sure that we get divided, whether it's by men and women, whether it's immigrant or non-immigrant, whether it's, by color. No, and we, brothers and sisters, we have to take a little break. We have to reflect, and we have to say that we have more in common with each other. We have to have more in common. We do have more in common. And one of the things that guides us, brothers and sisters, is love. It's love. Let me just tell you that I've been doing Women in Black, and I always talk about this story that happened. In Women in Black, we are supposed to stand still and not talk, not react to anybody telling us something. And one day, this woman in a truck, a white woman in a truck came by, and I was holding a sign that simply said, when in Spanish, it was in Spanish, and it said, "Are we mourning all victims of violence?" And as I stood there, the woman, she was at the stop sign, she started screaming at me and said, "You should be grateful for the people across the street who are Tea Party people with flags and all of this. You should be grateful to them, because if it wasn't for them, you would not be here. And you probably don't even know how to speak English. You probably don't even know how." And she kept going on and on and on. And I was like this, getting a headache. And in my head, of course, 10 million things were coming to me. Like, wanting I was going to respond, right? To say, I know 2 languages. Be afraid, Be afraid that my people, brown people are growing faster. I mean, we have more people, and all this kind of things going through my head. And instead, I lower my head down, and I don't know what happened. But when I looked up at her, I had such compassion for her. I had such love for her. I'm not, the only way I could conquer, and I remember that she did this. She shook, because she saw that instead of having hatred and anger, I had love for her and compassion. And the light turned and she took off. For me, brothers and sisters, that's what we gotta remember. Let's not react with anger, violence, or anything, but let's react with love, compassion, and just try to not give up, brothers and sisters. Let's cross that river and let's keep going, because we need to do that for our daughters, for our granddaughters, and we gotta honor our mothers and our grandmothers. So, brothers and sisters, today, let's rise up and do make a lot of noise with beautiful love that we have here.